We'll start with the simple topic in today's session. Okay, at the beginning of the session, we'll start with a simple one. How to append the data. How to append the data. What do you mean by appending data? Combining multiple tables or queries together vertically. That is called appending. So you can append the data or concatenate the data horizontally also. But here in Power Query Editor, appending the data vertically, it's a very simple stuff. Okay. So now the question is, why do I need to append the files or data tables together vertically? So what is the purpose of that? Anybody has any idea? So these are the scenarios when we append the historical data, okay, or incremental data and so on, right? So we will be appending the historical or incremental data, combining queries with the different filters or transformations. Okay, so these are the scenario when we will appending the data. First of all, what is appending the data? Appending data is combining multiple tables, consolidating. See, in the Excel file, let's your manager has given you 5 Excel files. Each Excel file has each month data. So you need to combine all the data and put it in a single Excel file. Okay, so that is your appending, right? Appending all the data into single file, consolidating all the data into single file. Okay, so that is what we are going to do. Appending historical or incremental data. Okay, for example, you have table in your data warehouse. You have a table like sales fact. Okay, or instead of saying the data warehouse, let's say you have a staging area. What is staging area? How many of you? I believe all of you have attended, right? So what is staging area? From the beginning you have attended. What is staging area? Why do we need to use staging area? What is staging area? Is this a permanent storage or temporary storage? Temporary, very good, right? So why? What about the others? What is staging area? Staging is temporary storage area. Why do we need to use the temporary storage area? Fahima, why don't you tell me? You attended these sessions, right? Only 2 sessions you missed out. Previous sessions you attended. Can you tell me why we need to use staging area? Temporary storage, why we need it? Yeah, for data cleaning. We use the staging area for the data cleaning. Okay, for the data cleaning. Not only for the data cleaning. For example, you have week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4 files are available. Okay, 3 different tables or 3 different files have each week's data in it. You wanted to create a monthly report. The monthly report should have all the 4 weeks data in it, isn't it? So what we do is we combine all these things into a single file. We consolidate and put in this is a monthly data file, right? So staging area can also be used to consolidate the data and put it in. So here, while combining the data, not all the time you will be simply appending the data. Okay, sometimes you may have to merge the data based on some conditions. You may have to do some left join, right join. That we'll discuss it little later. Here, simply, you want to combine all the 4 weeks data into a single file. This file has the entire month data. Then, the next step is you do some kind of cleaning. After you combine all the data into a single file, you do the data cleaning. Okay. So in that case, in case of any duplicate records, after combining the 4 files, tables or files into a single table, in case of any duplicate records, you need to remove it. You need to check and remove it. And then, in case of any other, transformation or any other additional columns that you needed, you can add it. And then what it is, you push it to your data warehouse. Data warehouse will contain the historical data. Okay, historical data. It's kind of a permanent storage. Okay, historical data. Staging area is something like your kitchen. Okay, You sleep, eat everything in your kitchen itself? No, right? So there's a temporary until you cook. You are going to use that. Once you cook, you take the food to your dining hall and you will have it, right? Or in your living room, you have your food. Okay, this the same analogy applicable here also. Okay, so this is the place where we do the data pre-processing. Data pre-processing, nothing but only cleaning the data. Sometimes you may have to aggregate the data or consolidate the data files and then store it in a single file. Okay, consolidating data from different sources. Sometimes what will happen, you have data available in different sources. You want to combine it to a single resource. Like I gave you another example. You are a manufacturing unit and you wanted to uh, you got a quote from different vendors. Okay, vendor one, vendor two, etc. Vendor six vendors are there, right? Six vendors are there, and each vendor they send their the raw materials related price and delivery shipment details, everything. Okay, some people they send it in XML file, some they say it in JSON file and so on, right? So maybe all the vendors they're sending the code related to the raw materials which you are trying to buy from them. But the code they may be sending in different files. Some people they may sending in XML everything. So end of the day, you wanted to analyze. You want to put all the vendors code in the key information as single table, and then if you do the analysis, it will make your job simple. Got it? So this is multiple vendors, right? So this is one scenario wherein you are going to do that. Or like the another scenario, you want to combine multiple weeks data or multiple let's you want to combine a week's data, right? So each day the data is stored in a separate file. You want to combine all the 5 days or 7 days data into a single file so that you can create a weekly report. So for that kind of scenario also you'll be using it. And next one is appending historical or incremental data. Okay, for example, you have a month one, right? So month one, 4 weeks data, you combined it into a single table. This is our month one. The month one data, you'll be pushing it here. Likewise, every month, when month two, right? When month two, what you do is again, you get the 4 week, you keep appending it in your historical data or in another table, okay? To do the analysis for 2 years or 3 years, 4 years, you need to append it here. But whereas here, once you append all the data into append in the sense, consolidate all the data into a files, data into a single table, you will be pushing, you will do further data pre-processing. Okay, and in case of any data consistency related issues, like I said, you have a country column or you have a region column, right? So region column, some people they mentioned about Southeast region, some people they mentioned about S region, some people W region, right? So that some they put W. It's all consistent data, inconsistent data. You need to address this kind of inconsistent data. And also any duplicate records, you need to address it. And in case of any formatting related issue, you need to address it. Once you do everything, so you need to load it into data warehouse. So because the reporting users, they are directly, consuming the data from the data warehouse. Okay. So combining queries with different filters or transformations, right? All for these kind of scenario, you are performing the append operation. Append is nothing but consolidating the data set. So in this case, I'm talking about consolidating the data from more than one file vertically. So what are the prerequisites? Does it requires to follow any prerequisites? For example, I'll show you this example. I just load I have the data set with the name of append itself available, append1.xls, and open. Let's start with the simple data and we will see how it goes. Tomorrow we'll discuss about assignments. At the end of the session, I'll give you assignments and you submit it. And next weekend, the test will be there. Okay. So here is the data set, product, sales, currency, date, location, column 6. Okay, and I just hit load here. Just give me a second. One second, please. So it's being loaded. Let's give for few more seconds. Okay, now it got loaded. Next one is I'm going to load another file, append to. Here also I have another file called, another file. So this file is XLS. Another sheet called sales is available. I just take a look at it here. Here I can see that only 4 columns are there. In the previous case, we have more than 4 columns, isn't it? Just give me a second here. Somebody is calling me. Zero. Okay, now we will consider. I have uploaded 2 files, right? Append 1 and append 2, 2 Excel files. Because I have a bigger volume of data also available. It will take longer time to load it. So that is the reason we'll start with a simple example and we will work on the bigger sizes later point in time. Okay. The 2 Excel files names were respectively the append 1 and append 2 Excel files. In that 2 Excel files, the sheet name, the subsheet name was sales and sales only. Okay. And now what I'll do is I'll just go to the transform data. And I will just, this for your sake, I'm going to rename it as append. Even this one, I'm going to rename it as append 2. So, these are the 2 files that I uploaded. But if I look at the first Excel file data here, we have how many columns? 6 columns are there, right? On top, the last column, when you see here, the last column, column 6, this has no value in it. The column name, was also not the correct one, right? So something very vague. And here, say we look here, product, sales, currency, date, and location. Okay. One second, I'll just go to the append to product, sales, currency. These 3 columns, first 3 columns were same, right? For the 2 data sets, the first 3 columns were same. Product, sales, currency, product, sales, currency. Both that, right? But here date 1 is there, the 4th column, but here we have the column name was, the column name is date here. Okay. And but first 4 columns almost matching, but the 4th column was date 1 here, whereas it is date. And we have in the append, in the first Excel file, we have additional two columns are there. One column name is location, other column is nothing. Okay, it doesn't make any sense, right? Some dummy column. It has no values in it. Location column also has no values. Majority of the rows, only few records are there. So what we can do is we can, so in this kind of situations, you need to check the requirement. If the requirement says your report should showcase a location column also, you need to go back to the source system owner or those people gave you this data, right? You need to go back to them, ask them, hey, in the second file, the location column is missing. And also in the first file, I have an additional column called column 6, but that has no value in it. But in the second file, I don't see, I can see only 4 columns are there. And also in the second file, instead of date 1 is there. What can I do? If they say, okay, you can go ahead and remove the location in column 6, rest of the columns you can append it. I'm going to remove it. This way you need to get it confirmed with your stakeholders, the application owners or the people who gave you the data. Okay, the product sales currency and date, and second one is product sales currency and date. Okay, but here date 1 is there. Okay, so now if I simply go ahead and append or these two data, combine these two data, what is going to happen? What is going to happen? Here, first 3 columns are same in both the data set. So product sales currency from both the data set will get combined. So here how many records are there? 14 records. And here you can see that 5 records. 14 plus 5, how much? 19 records will get combined together. Okay. For these 3 columns. Okay. And how about date? But here the date 1 column is what will happen is still this column will remain no, as part of your consolidated data, but it will put additional column as date 1 here. Okay, it will add another column, additional column date 1. Okay, instead of adding the date 1 values into the date column, it will create another column by the name of date 1. And for this append 1, since you don't have the date 1 column, it will put null, 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 null till the end. Okay, till the end. But in the second file, we have the values for the date 1. That one will remain as it is. All the date values will display there in the date 1 column for the second file. But in the second file, you don't have the date column. So in the second file, what will happen is the date column will put null, null, null. 5 records are there, right? Null, 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 null. 5 nulls it will be there in the date column. Whereas here the date values will be there. Okay, date values will be there, the date 1 column. But in this case, what happened? Unnecessarily, an additional column get created because of the naming convention problems. Okay. Ideally, in this file also, they should have given the name as date, but they have given date 1. But still it works. Okay. But the problem is, since the date 1 column is not available in this first file, date 1 column is not available, it will put null, 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 null for for the entire records in your append 1. But the date column has values in it. But in the append 2, ironically, right, it will put null in the date column, and the date 1, it will put the values. Okay. So this is unnecessarily you are wasting space, isn't it? So unnecessarily you are, you are wasting space here. Null, null, null will be there. It's kind of a sparse matrix. You are end up with sparse data. The data is not dense, it is sparse because of the naming standard issue here in this case. So had you mentioned date here, what will happen? Date, all these values will get appended or included, just beneath this date column, right? That is what would have happened. So what I will do is, after understand the structure of the table, what do you mean by structure of the table? So what columns are there? How many number of columns are there? Which column have what value? I understood the structure now. What I will do is, I just go ahead and rename it as date. Okay. Okay, wait. I'm not going to, wait. I'm not going to rename it. So let's see what happens if I append these 2 files with this state. Okay. I just go to the, see currently we are in Power Query Editor. So we are in the home ribbon. And then here we have append queries, right? We have append queries. In the append queries, we click on the drop down here and append queries as new here, right? You have the append queries as new. You have two options here, append queries as new. Okay. The best practice is you use the append queries as new, not the first one. I'll explain you why, little later. I just go ahead with the second option, append queries as new. And here you can see a dialog box. Okay, here the two tables. You have two options here, two tables. You want to concatenate rows from two tables into a single table. Yes, we want to combine the data from these two files, combine the data from these two files and make it as a single file. Okay, so for that you need to tell which one is which one are you going to use it as first table. Can be anything, right? So in this case, by default, since I selected this one, okay, and then when I clicked on the append queries here, so now it picks up by default append one as your first table. Second table, you need to tell it explicitly. You go ahead and tell you want to combine the append one with other tables. Yeah, I want to combine this one with append two. If you have more than two files, then you need to use this option. Okay. So let's start with the simple one, append one and append two. So let's say if I append, so a new file got created by the name of, new query got created by the name of append three. Like I said, for all the date one in this data set, right? You can see a null here. You can see a null here. Because we don't have the date one column available in my first data set. And also in the second data set, I don't have the date column, but I have the date one. So the second data set starts here. Since I have, date one column is available in the second data set, here I can see the data available here. But in the second data set, see the second data set is this one, right? The entire thing is your second data set. And here it puts null, in the date column, because in the second data set, you don't have the date column at all, right? So this is a little bit confusing, but logically what happens is Power Query, how it works is, if both the tables number of columns are not same, if you do append, I will append, still I will append. But if the both data sets column names are different, so I will create that column names that are not same, right, between the two data sets. I will create those columns as a new columns, like a date one. This is waste of resource, right? It consumes too much of space and unnecessarily, here it puts null, null, null. So best thing is you need to rename this column. If you rename the column, all these four records, all these four records will get moved here, right? It will get pushed here. So now, after this one gets pushed here, once you rename this column as a date, right? Obviously, this one will get copied here, right? And in the rest of the column, you will not have it at all if you rename the date one column as a date. Look here, now what I do is I just go back to append two, and then I just double click on it and I just rename it as date and append three. I just go here, you can see that product sales currency date. And if you scroll down here, so in the first data set, we have 15 records. Okay, after 14 records, right? 14 or 15. Yeah, I think, yeah, 14 records. 14 records, remaining 5 records, right? These remaining data are from my second data set. It perfectly got appended just beneath this one. See, appending is something like this. So this is your first data set. This is your second data set. So after you combine these two things, what is happening? The first one will, first one data will get, it will get copied here, and then the second data set will get appended just beneath this, right? This one will get appended simply. Here you have 1, 2, 3, you have 4, 5. The 4, 5 will get, included under the 1, 2, 3. That is what is happened here. But in the case of Power Query Editor, if the column names are not used properly, it will leads to some kind of confusion. Okay, that is what I have shown you. Okay, and what are the prerequisites now? The column structure should be same. Okay, so you should have the same column structure. That means you should have the same column names, data types, and the order need not be the same. Okay, order need not to be same. Okay, see, the first prerequisite is the column name should be same. Should be same. Column names should be same, and the second data type should be same. Should be same between the two data set. Okay. For example, in my second data set, here, if these values are text data type, what will happen? This is a numeric data type. When you combine the numeric data so with the text data, right? When the text data get into the numeric data, it will throw an error. Right? It will throw an error, it will not get appended. Okay. Hence, the column, not only the column name should be same between the or yeah, across the files. At the same time, the data type should be same. Okay, the data type should be same. See, what will happen is you might be arguing this one. I have a text column. In this, if I load a numeric data, it will get loaded. But in the case of numeric data, if you load the text data, text data, what will happen? It will throw an error and it will fail. The column name should be same. The data type should be same. In the newer version, order need not be same. The column order need not to be same. Need not to be same. It can be any order. So for example, 1, 2, 3, you have column 1, column 2, column 3, 4. But if the order of the columns are something like 4, 3, 2, 1, what will happen is, while combining these two data set, Power Query checks, oh, for column 4 is there, column 4 value should go to the 4, and third column value should go to the third column, second one goes to second, first one should go to first one. So order need not to be same, but the previous version order should also be same. The prior versions, okay? And you need to tell at the time of interview, the previous version, the order needs to be same before we combine the data set. Okay, if the order is not same, what will happen? Throw an error. For example, in the first data set, you have product, sales is there in this order. In the second data set, let's say you have the sales here and product here. What will happen? Your product is there. So the product is the text one, right? This is the text one. Yeah, sorry. Here, the first one is the product and second one is the numeric data. But when you load this text data into the numeric data, it will throw an error, right? If the order is not same, in the second file, the first column is sales and second column is product. Whereas here, the first column is product, second column is sales. When you try to load the product into the sales, the text numeric data, it will throw an error. So hence order must be same in the previous version, but in the recent version, order need not be, it takes care, still it takes care. Oh, whenever it says, hey, currency is there, currency data needs to be stored and loaded into currency, and date column should get loaded into date. In order for the respective columns needs to get loaded with the appropriate data, the column name should be same. This is important, mandatory. And the data type should also be same. This one need not to be same. If the column names are same, it automatically loads it goes and checks, hey, 4 column where it is, it gets loaded automatically. You can probably check it out, okay? That is working fine. But if the column name is not same, what happens? It will put additional column, additional confusions can happen. But remember, whenever you perform append like this, there could be chances that duplicate records can get into the consolidated file. But for that, you need to check first in each file, do you have duplicate values in it or not? Duplicate records are there in it or not, okay? And second one also, you need to check whether you have duplicate. And then if you do the append, and if you address it in each file itself, right, then you are safe. Once you do the append, you will not end up with any duplicate values. So look here, the append one, how many 14 records were there in append to the second file, okay? First file, 14, second file we have. If you combine these two things, how many number of records should be there? How many number of records should be there? Yes, you are correct, right? Rupa, Sheetal, Saundarya, Monica, Kavya, you are correct. How about Tejaswini? Tejaswini and Preeti, Geetika. How many records should be there? Here 5 records, here 14 records. 5 plus 14, how much here? 19. 19 records are there here, right? You can see that 19 records. So how did I check, how many number of records should be there in this file? How did I check that? I just clicked on this one, right? And then I looked here, 14 records are there. And I clicked on this and I looked here and I could see that 5. So 14 plus 5 is 19 records, so supposed to be, it is there. To cross verify whether the consolidation has been done correctly or not, still we need these files, right? For that purpose only, I have used the append queries as new. We have another option, append queries. When I use this one, what will happen is the previous files, right? The source queries will not be there. You will find only the append 3 or merged or say appended, right? Something like that. So in that case, how do you check, whatever the number of records that got combined together are correct? So for that purpose only, I have used the append queries as new. So because of which the append 1, append 2 remains as it is. So for example, I'll show you this one also, this option. For example, if I click on this one, append queries directly, again, it will ask me which file which query you want to combine it to which one. And okay, let me do one thing. I just rename it as, okay, I just remove this for the time being. Append 1, and here the append queries, and the first option, if you choose it, the same query, right? Here it will ask you which one you want to append 1 and 2 tables, content rows from 2 tables. And okay, wait, there is some other removed columns. Let me go back here. Okay, here, yeah, this one is required. Sorry, the location is not required. And column 6 also not required. In append 2, we will do the same thing. Date is available, fine. So now simply I click on append queries. And here, okay, let me do one thing. I think no, okay. I think I wrongly selected that one. One second. So here, I will do one thing. I just simply select somewhere else. I just go to the home ribbon. Yeah, I will just select the data file, some data file. So query, okay, some query. And then here I click on the append queries. And I just select this one, append queries, 2 tables, okay. Table to append 1 is correct, current one. Append 2 is the second one. Since the current one I select is append 1. So append 1, append 2. Now you can see that 19 records are there, right? 19 records are there. It appended the data correctly. But you do not know how many records were there in the first query, first data file, right? So if you want to check, see, after you combine the data, it is the responsibility of you need to check whether the data got loaded successfully, all the records got loaded successfully after doing the consolidation. For example, file 1, this is your file 1. You have 1, 2, 3, 3 records are there in file 2. In file 2, you have, you have 1, 2 is there, 2 records are there, okay? So after you combine these two things, 1, 2, 3, and 2, 3, 5, sorry, this 4 and 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 should be there. But if you don't have this, or if you don't have this file, how can you check how many number of records are there, right? So for that purpose only, the append queries as new option is very much helpful, okay? The other option is, see, in the latest version, what happens here, this is the one they made a change, that's why I got confused. In the recent version, what happened? You select the file which you want to append with another thing. And here, if you click on the append queries, it is not asking you the, the first or second tables because you already selected the first one. And click on the drop down. So it says, append one is the current. You need to select the next one. So you need to append this one with this one. So what happened? The opposite. Okay. The append one itself have 19 records. Okay. This one gets appended, and this is the current one. The current one I have, I have loaded the second file's data. So 19 records are there. The only proof is I need to go to the second query. I can see this one still remains. But in the older version, what will happens, right? These two queries will get combined to single query. You will not have any evidence to check, how many number of records were there in the first file, how many number of records there were in the second file. Okay. So, but in the latest version, the recent version, they introduced this one. So whatever the query that you selected, that is going to the current one. Okay. And you need to tell which data you need to append it in this one. Okay. Similarly, if you select append to, and then if you go here and you click on append query, I think that is the one should happen. If I use append to is the current one, and if I use the append one, all the records from will get. It's a cyclic reference. Correct. This is what cyclic reference. You cannot use it. The opposite is possible. Here, I have appended the query. Once you appended the query, this is also another interview question. They'll ask what is cyclic query error. Okay. The same example you can tell. Okay. And for that reason only, right, I just did that, the same thing. Okay, look here. So what is the current query? Append to. Click on the append queries. I want to include append one files data into this one. Now you need to select append one and then hit OK. Look here. So this files data needs to be included after this files data, right? So you can use this way. So for that reason only, they have introduced the new feature. The new feature they introduced like this. Okay. Here you have 19 records, whereas here you have only 14 records. Okay. But after you combine the two files data, two queries data or two files data, there could be chances you will have some duplicate records. You need to either check after you combine the data into single file, you can check the duplicate records. It is not the prudent way of doing that, right? So first, before you append the data, for example, in this case, we have 14 and here we have 5 records. In the real world scenario, you have 50,000 records. Here you have 75,000 records. Better with the less number of records itself, you do the duplicate check, right? So remove duplicates or, keep the duplicate records. You can check it out. And then if you append the data, it makes sense, isn't it? It will save your time. After combining the both data file into single file, if you do the check, it will take longer time. Is it clear? So what are the prerequisites? What are the prerequisites I told you? What are the prerequisites to before appending the data? What are the prerequisites that needs to be met in order to make or append the files? Column structure should be same, which means the column name should be same, data type should be same. Yes. See, this is how the response. See, Chaitanya responded me instantly. Kavya, Monica, Rupa, Sheetal, Soundarya. This is also, it tells me, you are picking up quickly. Okay. How about Tejaswini? Tejaswini, are you able to pick up? Are you able to understand?
Yes.
But still, you watch my video. Okay. If you are not able to understand. And if I explain it one more time, you will get confused. Okay. So you watch my video and practice it. So to summarize, using append queries option in the Power Query Editor, you can combine multiple files data into single file. Full stop. Explain to the prerequisites also. The column structure should be same and data type should be same. The column order need not to be same in the latest version. The older version, the column order should also be same, guys. That's all.